Hi my loves, so today I have a new video for you. This is going to be all the series that I have abandoned. So if you're interested to see what series I am not continuing or don't have any interest in picking up or reading the new books that are released, then please keep watching.
I'm so scared of falling down. I just won't climb in the first place.
I just have my notebook here. This is my reading journal, so I do not own pretty much most of these series because I've either unhauled them or I read them in another format. So I will put images on the screen somewhere to let you know what the books look like and what books I'm talking about. So the first series I have here is The Lion Game by Sarah Shepherd. So I was obsessed with Pretty Little Liars. Like, it came out, I don't even know when it came out, but I had started watching it after season 2 had started airing and I absolutely adored it. And then when Pretty Little Liars ended, I really wanted that kind of Gossip Girl kind of mystery vibe, so I decided to try The Lion Game instead of picking up the Pretty Little Liars books, because I had preconceived notions going into them because of how much I loved the show. I decided to try her other series and see if that made any difference. Unfortunately, the writing just wasn't for me. I felt like the first book was pretty much just introducing the characters. It was quite boring. And then the second book, I just kind of lost interest because I found out that The Lion Game was actually made into a show. So I watched the show, and then once I picked up the third book, I was like, do you know what, I'm just not into the series anymore. And I've watched season 1 of the show, which I thought was better than the books, so I decided to just abandon it because there's no point wasting my time on a series that's just mediocre to me personally. But it wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't feeling it, so I decided to just call it a day. And if I ever need the like Gossip Girl mystery vibes, I can always go back and rewatch Pretty Little Liars or The Lion Game or Gossip Girl. So I'm just gonna do that instead because this series just wasn't it for me. And the next one I have here is Percy Jackson. So don't come at me, don't come at me. So I started watching BookTube and then I discovered Percy Jackson and I was like, everyone loves this series, it's middle grade, everyone and their mother loves it, so I'm gonna read it. And I read up to book 3 and I just wasn't enjoying it. Like, I enjoyed it enough for it to be like passable and for me to pick up all the way to book 3, but it came to picking up book 4 and I just wasn't reaching it. Like, I just wasn't reaching for it. I didn't have any care for it. Like, the characters were okay, the story was good, I liked the story. I would definitely pick up a Rick Riordan book because his worlds are great and I really think that I would get along with his worlds. But unfortunately, I just think that I was too late to the Percy Jackson hype, and that kind of put me off a bit because everyone had loved the series previously and had so many good things to say about it. And then when I read it, people weren't really talking about it anymore, so I was a bit left like not enjoying it as much as I thought I would, and not having like anyone to talk about it to because they had already read it and most people already loved it. So I just decided that I'm never going to pick them up. I'm never going to finish the series. I had 2 books left. I could have easily done it. They're fast reads, but I just didn't want to waste my time. So I actually did unhaul these books because I just wasn't leaning towards them, and I am low on space on my bookshelf, so keeping books that I will maybe potentially probably not read is not a good look for my bookshelves because I need the space. I have an unhaul coming up soon, so if you're interested in that, subscribe and hit the bell so you can see it. Oh, that was smooth. So the next one I have here is Vampire Academy, and in the same vein as Percy Jackson, I came onto BookTube and was like, oh my god, everyone loves the Vampire Diaries. Not the Vampire Diaries. I've been watching too many Vampire Diaries vlogs. I just watched Kevin the Reader reading the third and fourth book, I think, or the fifth and sixth book, and Chloe's vlog for the first book. So I'm like, Vampire Diaries is like really stuck in my head, but it's not the Vampire Diaries, it's Vampire Academy. And everyone loved this book series, like everyone had read it and loved it and had moved on to Bloodlines, the spin-off. I, however, was late to the game again, so I did not get the same enjoyment that everyone else got from it. I just felt like it fell a bit flat for me, unfortunately. I do think if I found this series when I was younger or when it was first hyped, then I would have enjoyed it more. I only read the first book and I just wasn't ready to commit to a 6-book series, where I only gave the first book, I think I gave it a 3.5 star, and I just wasn't ready to commit to such a long series and ones with spin-offs if I did not enjoy the first book properly. And it had been so long since everyone had read it that I just kind of lost interest as well, so there's that. So yeah, it wasn't for me, unfortunately. I do like the idea of it, but it's such an old series now that new books are coming out that I'm more interested in, so they're going to take priority. So for me, it's just a no. I did, however, watch the film. I enjoyed the film, but for me, that I just called it a day after I had watched the film and read the first book, so oops. So the next series I have here is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I read the first book, I enjoyed it, it was fine. I actually picked this up on the recommendation of Jesse the Reader because he absolutely adores this series, and I thought, well, I better get on it. Unfortunately, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't that I didn't like it, I did like it, I just wasn't a fan of the narrative that came along with it. Like, I enjoyed the movie, I watched the movie, this is a common theme, jeez. I watched the movie, I did enjoy the movie, but the book, because the book is set out in like pictures and like, it made me feel like it was going to be really creepy, but unfortunately it just wasn't creepy enough. Like, if you're giving me black and white photos that are super creepy, I expect like high creepy, eerie, chill vibes, but this book just didn't do that for me. And I just, again, there was a trilogy and then another book got announced and then another book got announced, and I didn't like the first book enough to continue on with the books that had already been released and then wait for more to be released. I have more series that I actually am enjoying and that I've picked up on my own accord that I really, really want to get to, so they are prioritized over everything else, and this book just didn't make the cut. This series just didn't make the cut. If they make more films, I will happily watch the films. Unfortunately, the books just didn't do it for me. And then the next series is Light as a Feather. So this is, it was a Wattpad story, and I do enjoy the occasional Wattpad story, fan fiction, you know, a little bit of fun in between actually reading what I want, like physical books I want to pick up. So most of the time when I see Wattpad books, I do try to find ones that I will be interested in. For instance, the Dimly series is a Wattpad story. The After series by Todd is a Wattpad story. There is also a Wattpad story called The Act of Revenge that I read it like 10 years ago and I absolutely adored it. That's how I found Wattpad. So when I seen that this was a Wattpad book, I was interested because it had magic, it had friendship, it had girl group. It just gave me all the vibes that I wanted. Unfortunately, no. The girl friendship is totally toxic. The fact that the main character makes fun of mental health and the fact that if you don't have a boyfriend to go to the dance with, you're a loser, like it had so much toxic themes within the book that I actually DNF'd it. So I didn't even finish the book and I would not want to continue the series. I did, however, no shocker at all, watch the TV show, and the TV show was really good. I enjoyed the TV show, and I will watch, if they take out a second season, I will watch the second season. but they changed the TV show, and the friendship actually seems pretty decent, and a lot of the things I didn't like from the book were changed in the TV show, so I was happy with that. So I would definitely watch the second season if there is one. I will not be picking up the rest of these books, and I DNF'd the first one, so no. And the last book I have here is the Auntie Virginity Pact. So unfortunately, this is a booktuber or author-tube book by Katie Wismer, I believe. I don't know how you pronounce her last name, I am sorry. So I actually requested this on NetGalley because I really do like to try and support authors, whether it be local authors, Wattpad authors, or authors that are indie published. So I do try and read a bit more of them because I like some diversity in my books, and I just think that the big publishing houses don't always give me what I want. So I do try and find indies or like lesser known authors that are that are published on different platforms or websites like Wattpad. So when I seen this, I thought, great. I watch Kay's YouTube channel, I absolutely love it, but unfortunately I did not get along with this book. I just didn't like it. It wasn't that it was horrible, it was a 3-star read, and it was okay. Like it was just okay. It wasn't memorable to me, and if I'm going to continue a series, I want it to be memorable. I want to remember what I read before because I'm excited to go forward. But unfortunately, it's been like a year since I've read this book and I remember nothing, and I just have no interest in continuing the story. Unfortunately, if Katie does ever take out other books, I will give them a try. I know she has maybe a couple of poetry books, but if she ever takes out like another novel, I will give it a try again. But unfortunately, I don't think this series or trilogy is going to be for me because I didn't like the first one as much as I thought I would. It was just average, and I'm not about starting new series on average ratings. Unfortunately, it's just not for me. I have too many on the go as it is. Like, I don't need any more series on the go, and I just started From Blood and Ash series, so like I already just put myself in the shit by starting that book series, because the 3 books that are released are 600 pages, and then there's going to be another 3 books released. So I've literally just added another 6-book series to my list that are all 600-page books, so I do not need any more. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments any book series that you've abandoned, because I am interested and curious to know. But yeah, so have a nice day, have a nice week, have a nice weekend, and stay safe, happy and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Pack up my summer in a Ziploc bag. Old maps and tchotchkes, photographs said this and that. I'll write myself a letter so that I'll remember all